Alright, this is Back for Blood. I tested this out with DLSS in the open beta, but I have an AMD GPU now. So we do have FSR here. By the way, this game is on Game Pass for PC, so if you have that, that's how I'm doing it. So I'm testing that version of the game. In case there's any differences from Steam, that could be why. Now, the graphics settings at the moment are on the Epic preset and have no upscaling on. This game does have FSR, and that's what we're about to test. So first, let's take a look at this image and get a good look at the frame rate. We're at 113 frames per second here. It's definitely a GPU limit, seeing that usage up at 98-99% and the CPU down at like, well, less than 10%, although it does bounce around. Okay, get a good look at this. We are gonna kick on some FSR. See what kind of performance we get. Then I'm going to compare FSR to what we get performance and visual-wise from dropping the image qualities. But for now, we'll leave it on Epic and start out with Ultra Quality. That's usually the one I would use if I was going to use FSR. So we see our frame rate going up to 133, 134 frames per second. So that is quite a jump, about 20 frames per second. And the image still looks really good. As usual with FSR, I do feel like the image looks noticeably more sharpened. Now, some people will consider that better than native. Some people would consider it worse. I consider it different. It looks sharper. Because I'm at 4K, the game still has a lot of resolution to work with here, and that's what FSR is doing. It's lowering the render resolution and then applying a very good spatial upscaler to make it look like 4K with a sharpening filter. Let's further lower the resolution and go down to quality. Okay. To my eye, I can start to pick out some of the details, like in the grass as it moves, and some of the other finer details do look a bit less sharp and less detailed to them now. Now, I am on a 48-inch screen, and I'm sitting very close to it. So it's possible that on a smaller 4K monitor, you might not notice even down here at the quality settings. And look, our frame rate is all the way up to 158, 159 frames per second. That is quite the increase in frame rate. Okay, let's go down to balanced mode, which personally I'd never really use. It starts to make things look a little smeared. I'll show it in motion after we test out all the settings looking at the same scene so that you can jump back and forth in the YouTube video and get a direct comparison. And let's go down to performance. To me, performance mode starts to kind of look like a oil painting. The filter that they do kind of, it sharpens the outlines and sort of smears the inner stuff. Like I think in motion you'll be able to tell. I am going to do this in motion now. Things are definitely not 4K, although if you're watching this at 1080p, you're just like, well, all looks good to me, man. All right, so there it is at performance. I mean, our frame rate's all the way up to like 200. So there's that. Okay, so once again, I think the one that I would use if I was going to use any would be Ultra Quality, although honestly my performance was good enough without it. Unless in combat, maybe if things start dropping, maybe I'd consider it. So we're at 136, 137 frames per second using FSR Ultra Quality. Now what I want to do is turn off FSR, get a baseline on our Epic again, just get another look at that. Okay, so we're looking at Epic, and now let's start turning down the graphics settings and see how much we have to turn them down to get the same kind of frame rate bump we got from using FSR Ultra Quality. So we're going down to high now. Okay, that gets us to 128, 129. FSR actually got us further on Ultra Quality, so it looks like dropping from Epic to high does not do as much for you as just turning on FSR. On the wrong graphics menu there. There we go. Let's go down to medium. Okay, medium is now putting us about where FSR did. So it's looking like, at least in this scene, FSR and medium graphics settings kind of accomplish the same thing. Honestly, medium still looks pretty good to me here. I can still see shadows and lighting looking reasonably okay. Let's go ahead and drop all the way down to low. Wow. Do you guys see the massive difference between low and medium? We're over 200 frames per second now. That is absolutely insane. That's like going all the way down to the FSR performance mode. So, yeah, if you want to play this game on low, that's going to be really, really getting you some performance gains. Wow, that is absolutely nuts. It still looks okay on low. Some shadows are still being cast, although the detail on them doesn't look great. Let's go all the way, let's go just back to medium, because, man, that's such a crazy difference between medium and low. Huge frame rate hit. I mean, the scene does look better on medium. I think this shadow looks more resolution to the shadow. But man, yeah, low gains you huge amounts of frame rates, which is nice because that means I think that a lot of people are going to be able to play this game on the low settings. The system requirements, I think, were only like a GTX 970. So you know what? It almost seems like it's fairly pointless to lower graphics settings because Epic doesn't perform that different than medium. So it seems like either play it on Epic or play it on low. And or use some FSR. I think that's going to be my recommendation here. So, what do you guys think? Are you going to play this game? And if so, what graphic settings are you going to use? I think this looks like an interesting game. I never really played a lot of Left 4 Dead myself. And I hope all of you have an excellent day.
Trying to get yourself killed? Need that.